Hello, everyone, and happy St. Patrick's Day weekend. We have a very special broadcast planned for you. We are coming to you live from the most modern sports facility in the world, the fabulous Sky Dome in downtown Toronto. We are coming to you across Canada on TSN and across Ireland on the RTE television network. And my name is Chris Seatons. I'm joined on the broadcast by the voice of Gaelic football and hurling in Ireland, Mr. Ger Canning. And Ger, first of all, can I get your comments on the Sky Dome?
Well, I think we should have a little whip around afterwards and try and build one in Ireland. This is absolutely awe-inspiring. I've never seen anything quite like it, and I've seen some good sports stadia around the world. This really is an Olympic stadium. It's built for comfort. The spectators get a marvellous view of everything here. They can share in the action and share in the activity. It really is spectacular.
Let's talk a bit about the sport of hurling. I guess most Canadians would compare it maybe to field hockey.
Well, that is quite true. It's 15-a-side. It's played in Ireland, and basically Ireland alone. And we are anxious in this particular broadcast here to internationalise it, to bring it before a Canadian audience, and I think they're going to enjoy it. It's not a very complex game.
Tell me a bit about the scoring.
Well, the scoring is quite simple. There are goals and points. The goal is scored when the ball goes into the net. That's below the crossbar and between the two outer posts. And if the ball sails over the crossbar, it counts as 1 point. So you've got a goal equals 3 and a point equals 1. So if I say 2 goals and 6 points, for instance, or the example we have there, 1-4, that's equal to 7 points.
Okay, and in our hand now we have a hurley and a ball. The ball, we can tell you, is about the size of a baseball with some grooves on it. The hurley stick. Now, one thing different about the hurley stick is the grip that the players will use. It's the opposite to what we might expect, like the baseball grip or the golf grip.
Yeah, so I believe. Now, I'm a very poor hurler. I would tend to have my left hand on it normally, but really good hurlers are trained to keep a firm yet flexible grip with the right hand up here near the top of the hurley. And then as they want to make contact with the ball, they'll let this left hand slide up and down the shaft of the hurley, and they'll get down and they can swing it like this.
And the grip, the exact opposite as to the golf grip.
That is quite right. That is quite right. Mind you, there are so many variations. I mean, who can say this is the only way, definitive way to hold a hurley?
Well, we're looking forward to a great game this afternoon. Also, one term you might be hearing is pucking the ball. Maybe you can quickly explain pucking the ball for us.
Yes, I know in ice hockey you talk about the puck being the ball. Well, we tend to talk about the puck being the actual action of hitting the ball. So you'll hear me saying that the goalkeeper is pucking the ball out. That means he's hitting the ball out, putting it back into play. Now, Chris, I want to say this much to you. We are delighted on RTE television to be sharing this broadcast with TSN. And as a memento of our visit here, this is a piece of Irish crystal, hand cut. This particular piece was cut in Tipperary. I'd like very much to present it to you. And
thank you. Thank you very much,
Jeff. Put it with something black later on.
Heavy, too, that's for sure. We'll return with first half action live from the Sky Dome, the Gaelic Games, in just a moment.
And viewers in Ireland, welcome back to the Toronto Sky Dome, where the presentations are being made, and we have the two captains, and they are Desi Donnelly, number 4 of the Bank of Ireland All-Stars, playing in green this evening, and the number 7 of Tipperary, who is John Kennedy, and they're being introduced to Lincoln Alexander just now. And very shortly they'll be tossing the coin to decide the choice of ends in this historic game of hurling here at the Toronto Sky Dome. The first ever time it's been played on AstroTurf, indoors, under lights, and it's also being divided into 4 quarters as against the traditional, there's Lincoln Alexander, as against the traditional 2 halves that we have normally in hurling. That's John Kennedy being introduced there to Brian Farmer, Liam Mulvihill in the background, Frank O'Rourke of the Bank of Ireland. A big occasion for John Kennedy. Pat Delaney is the man in the centre there, the match referee, going to toss the coin very shortly, just for the choice of ends. And I can tell you that the teams have been here in Toronto now for the last 4 or 5 days. They've been practicing every day, and they really are wound up and want to do particularly well in this contest. John Kennedy, I think, has won the toss for Tipperary. Remember, Tipperary are the All-Ireland hurling champions, reigning champions since 1989. John Dunn there of A&P Dominion, sponsoring this event locally, and indeed the originator of this great idea just 3.5 months ago. He's a Tipperary man, and they're the Bank of Ireland All-Star team, playing in green this evening. And that's Terence McNaughton there, one of the substitutes, immediately on our right, as we look down at some of them. Pat Delaney from Laois in the Irish Midlands is the referee for this hurling match. So let's now take a check on how the sides will play tonight. No fewer than 8 county teams are represented in the All-Star team, with Galway having the highest representation. They provide a third of the team. The defence looks particularly strong, especially the half-back line, where Kilkenny's Liam Walsh links up with Cork's Jim Cashman and Galway's Sean Tracy. At midfield, Michael Coleman and Ger Hagerty will be hoping to supply vital passes for the likes of Ian Ryan and Tony O'Sullivan. But the man playing at centre forward is bound to command both respect and attention. That's Galway man Joe Cooney, who has the talent and class to wreak havoc. All-Ireland champions Tipperary hand the task of subduing Joe Cooney to young Conall Bonner, whose older brother Cormac is bound to be a thorn in the All-Star defence. Tip has two stylish wing-backs in John Kennedy and Paul Delaney, while the star of some of their recent league games has been midfielder Declan Carr. However, the star name in the side has to be Nicky English as the game gets underway, and it's Tipperary who are playing up into the goal on our left in the opening quarter of this game, 4 quarters of 15 minutes each. And straight away it's going to be a sideline ball. And a sideline ball to the All-Stars. And that's Aidan Fogarty, who comes from Offaly, again in the Irish Midlands, taking the sideline cut on the AstroTurf. Helped forward by Jim Cashman of the All-Stars. Jim Cashman once again getting it up onto his stick there and doing nicely is Paul Delaney. Up towards Cormac Bonner, breaks back down towards Nicky English. And he's very much the danger man from Tip's point of view. That one goes high and it's gone over the bar, and we've got the opening score inside 35 seconds. Nicky English, the scorer of that one. So that's a very useful start for Nicky. The goalkeeper is John Commons. Declan Carr under the dropping ball in the centre of the field. Paul Delaney there too for Tipperary. That's nudged forward by the number 10 there, Ian O'Ryan. And we've got a free which is about 40 metres out. And there's a quick check on the score. Tip taking the opening score. But it's Joe Cooney who registers his first point from the free. Joe Cooney is a very talented player. Indeed, he scored 9 points, all from frees, when his county, Galway, last played Tipperary. That was back in November in the league. John Leamy is the Tipperary goalkeeper. Up towards Nicky English once again. That one is gone. Breaking down into the centre. Here's Declan Carr. Good-looking ball, probing inside. Well taken by John Commons of the All-Stars. Out towards Ian O'Ryan's wing, his fellow county man dropping in there with Paul Delaney. Touched forward by Aidan Ryan, a brother of Bobby Ryan, incidentally, on the Tipperary team. Declan Carr misstroking on that occasion. Ian O'Ryan just getting in there to challenge for that one. Paul Delaney whipping into it first time. Comes across nicely, however, and well controlled by Sean Tracy, putting the All-Stars into the attack. This is Brian McMahon. McMahon loses the stick, and he kicks it back, but according to the experimental rules which are now in operation in Ireland and in Toronto, indeed, you can't do that. Once you lose the stick, you can't kick the ball away. It's a controversial rule, that one, and bound to be reviewed over the next couple of weeks. So a free out for Tipperary. Remember, the scores are level, 1 point to piece, and we've just played under 3 minutes in the opening quarter. Paul Delaney just surveying the action, taking the free from just outside his own 45-metre line. Joe Hayes waiting for it with Ger Hegarty. Good ball, that one. Nicely up towards Donny O'Connell, but it's taken away from him, however. And that's Michael Coleman. Miss-hitting it. Breaking back towards Declan Carr, but that's tailing away towards the right and wide. The two teams really have been full of appreciation for the surface here, what some regarded as just a little bit difficult to attune to. Most players are absolutely delighted to have this opportunity of displaying their skills in front of a big audience here tonight, and over 26,000 people, perhaps 30,000 people here present in the Sky Dome. As that breaks in nicely for Elka McFetridge. Oh, it comes down, and it's buried away beautifully by Ian O'Ryan. A goal for the All-Stars. Ian O'Ryan with a goal after 4 minutes. And it was all set up with John Leamy here, having injured himself, making an attempt to cover that effort. But it was all set up initially by Ulcan McFetridge as he tore through the Tipperary defence to put the All-Stars into a good, comfortable position. And from the rebound there, I can tell you, Ian O'Ryan was the one who got the opening goal. John Leamy back on his feet again. It's fast and furious as Joe Cooney sends in a shot from way out the field, and that's tailed away to the left. So a couple of wides each, but that goal after 4 minutes by Ian O'Ryan of Galway and the Bank of Ireland All-Stars, separating the teams. It's a hard surface here, so if you fall as John Leamy did there in trying to save that goal, you can injure yourself. This is Éanna Ryan over there with Sean Tracy. Stopped over there and hammered away by John Kennedy. Out comes the fullback Eamon Cleary for the All-Stars. And a sideline ball is going to be the outcome. John Kennedy taking the sideline cut, and they've been experimenting with these cuts during the week as that reaches Cormac Bonner. Sends a nice dummy, gets inside, but the referee says he took too many steps with the ball. You're allowed to take 4, and the referee determined there that Cormac Bonner fouled on that occasion, so it's going to be a free out for the All-Stars. Early stages of the match, just 5 minutes gone, and a reminder of the score, which is Tipperary 1 point, the All-Stars 1 goal and 1 point. So a difference of 3 points right now. The All-Stars ahead. That's gone away over there towards Shane Fitzgibbon, but stopped by John Kennedy once again, trying to go by Ger Hegarty. Ger Hegarty is a Limerick man playing for the All-Stars. That's up towards Nicky English. Stopped, however, by Aidan Fogarty, a solid and dependable defender. On this occasion, leaves it behind to Donny O'Connell. O'Connell sends it in dangerously, and Cormac Bonner has equalised the match. Now, the question to be asked about that one was whether he was in the small rectangle before the ball arrived. If he was, the goal should be disallowed, but the referee allows it to stand, judging that it was just on the fringe as he beat John Commons. So the sides are level. And the managers were saying before this match that this surface is so fast, we really could have a lot of scores. Here's Aidan Ryan dancing around his opponent, sending it in towards Cormac Bonner once again, with Michael Cleary in there as well. Taken, however, under pressure by the defenders. Breaks out neatly to Liam Walsh. Walsh clearing his lines well. Down it goes towards Brian McMahon, a Dubliner playing it full forward for the All-Stars, 45 metres out from the Tipperary goal. Hit inside and hit inside well. Stopped by John Leamy from that effort by Tony O'Sullivan. It's blocked down, however, by Leamy, and it's just about cleared on the goal line by Bobby Ryan. So near to being a second goal for the All-Stars. And finally, the referee decides that the ball has gone out over the far sideline. But John Leamy there was in trouble once again. Well, just what happened here? Leamy was clearing it down, the defenders were coming in, or forwards were coming in, and it was Éanna Ryan who blocked it down initially, and Bobby Ryan cleared his lines. Free taken by John Heffernan. Tipperary, remember, playing in the blue and gold up into the goal on our left. Cormac Bonner going in there with Aidan Ryan and several Tipperary players menacing, but it's finally cleared out of defence. And that'll be a sideline ball for the All-Ireland champions Tipperary, who play in the Munster division in the championship in Ireland each summer. The teams play in their respective provincial sectors, and Tipperary are the champions of Munster and the All-Ireland champions. As Paul Delaney cuts it in beautifully up towards Cormac Bonner. It breaks down towards Aidan Ryan. Ryan getting it onto his right-hand side. Nice swinging action and a lovely point. Aidan Ryan's first point of the evening. So Aidan Ryan edges his side ahead. So a goal and 2 to a goal and 1. 1 point difference. Here comes Éanna Ryan once again. He's been very prominent so far. And this to level up the scores, but no, he's put it wide. The seats at the end there, you may notice, without any spectators in there. It's not that there wasn't a lot of interest to be in there, but there must have been a baseball match here yesterday, and that fell through because of a continuing strike here in Canada. And so the seats were not sold because they reckon they might not get the whole arena changed around for the hurling match in time. Ger Hegarty is injured as he was hand-passing that ball away to a colleague. That's Ger Hegarty, the player who was voted by the Limerick supporters as their player of the year. Sean Tracy up and ready to take his place in the half-back line. Jim Cashman, the free taker, from inside his own 65-metre line. Dropping it menacingly in. Brian McMahon trying to get a swipe at it, and it's Bobby Ryan who clears it out over the sideline, and that's going to be a sideline ball for the All-Stars. Michael Coleman lining up this one. Bobby Ryan was last year's tip captain. That's across towards Shane Fitzgibbon. Shane Fitzgibbon of Limerick and the All-Stars is wrestled over there. And the referee, Pat Delaney, going in to have a quick word with John Heffernan, who's wearing some of that black grease you can see under the eyes, just to try and take away the glare because of the lighting here in the Sky Dome. If you're looking up into the sky as the high ball's dropping in, this anti-glare substance, well, it helps just a little. Joe Cooney has the shot blocked down by John Leamy. It's cleared away by Bobby Ryan out into the centre of the field towards Declan Carr. Carr settling down well to his task now at midfield as the ball is played up. But over there, trying to cope with the situation, is Liam Walsh. Liam Walsh, a Kilkenny man, helped by a Cork man, Jim Cashman. That was Joe Hayes of Tipperary, not able to keep the ball in play. Sideline ball for the All-Stars playing in the green. Desi Donnelly, who is the All-Star captain, to take the free. Across towards Éanna Ryan's wing, but it's picked up by Joe Cooney instead. This fella has the class and the talent really to intimidate this Tipperary backline. It's the makings of a fascinating match here at the Toronto Sky Dome. A point between the teams, 1-1 for the All-Stars, 1-2 for Tipperary, and Paul Delaney is about to take this sideline ball. Oh, that's beautifully cut up by Paul Delaney on the AstroTurf. Breaks back, however, towards Ger Hegarty. In towards the full forward line. It was Malcolm McFetridge reaching up for it there, but fouling his opponent. Well, it's a physical contact sport. The challenges have to be shoulder to shoulder with one foot on the ground, and there's no room for pushing or shoving or anything like that. It really is a very disciplined sport. Paul Delaney sending it up towards his half-forward line. It runs forward towards Nicky English, but breaks loose. Donie O'Connell with Jim Cashman there, keeping a very tight rein on the centre forward. That comes down to Éanna Ryan, whipping it across to the far side, intended for the corner forward over there, who is Shane Fitzgibbon. Dealt it out to the half-forward, Aidan Ryan, lets it run by. And it's one of the features of the AstroTurf. You have to be absolutely precise in your passing. As Michael Cleary goes in, Michael Cleary raises the white flag, and that's another point for Tipperary, and Michael Cleary has got his first point of the match. So Tipperary leading by 2. Michael Cleary really has had a most impressive last 12 months. And there's the score, just 2 points between the teams, still in the first quarter. 3 minutes of that first quarter remaining as Donie O'Connell tries to set up a colleague, Joe Hayes, in the middle of the field. Challenged all the way over there by Ger Hegarty, whipping it across, but putting too much pace on the pass. The players had about 3 or 4 training sessions on this surface over the last couple of days. It's been anything but a holiday, I can tell you. The managers have been tough on their players. They've insisted that they prepare properly for each of the sessions, and it's all taken very, very seriously. The players, we should explain, of course, to our Canadian audience, are all amateurs. They don't receive any payment for playing here. They all have different jobs, as you'll notice from the captions coming up occasionally. And the strength of this game really is that it's played at parish level all over Ireland. And players progress from their parish team, their club team, through to the county team. And if they're good enough at the end of the year and they play well through the season, they may be picked as an all-star team. The sports writers in Ireland pick an all-star team at the end of each playing season, and they pick the best players in their position. So what we're seeing here tonight are the all-stars minus the Tipperary players. There were 6 Tipperary players selected as all-stars at the end of last season. Naturally, they're playing with their own club or own county team tonight, and they have replacements playing in their place. Very good and accomplished players at that. That's Michael Coleman. Declan Carr of Tipperary lets it go by. Michael Coleman feeds it forward. That's on for Tony O'Sullivan. A good-looking ball. The goalkeeper in some trouble, and it's beaten the goalkeeper, and it's another goal. And it's Shane Fitzgibbon who's in there, delighted with himself. A goal just about a minute before the end of the first quarter. The goalkeeper was in something of a dither. He stayed on his line, receiving little cover from the full-back line, and in it went. So just a point now separating the sides, and the All-Stars have taken the lead. It's 1-3 to Tipperary at 6 points, 2-1 for the All-Stars, 7 points. Well, the crowd here really have enjoyed themselves so far in this opening quarter. It's been a great weekend for Irish activities all over Toronto. Paul Delaney getting that ball forward, and Tipperary, having conceded another goal to the All-Stars in the attack now themselves, and it's Michael Cleary who was fouled. The ball, or his hurley rather, was knocked away from his hand, but I think there was a fouling action by an All-Star as he hit down on Michael Cleary's hand. Ger Hegarty then moves back into the midfield, waiting for the free to be taken, and it's Michael Cleary himself who's going to take it. And Michael Cleary, I can tell you, has hit it and he's put it over the bar. So Michael Cleary has taken over as the free taker in the Tipperary side, and that makes it level scores, 1-4 for Tipperary, 2-1 for the Bank of Ireland All-Stars. And the referee, Pat Delaney from Laois, calling for the ball, delicately balanced, all square at the end of the first quarter, and we're looking forward to the second quarter.
We'll return live to the Sky Dome with more of the Gaelic games. The score tied at 7 apiece. More in just a moment.
What happened in Hurling? So Pat Delaney getting ready to start the quarter. Sides level, remember. 1-4 for Tipperary, 2-1 for the Bank of Ireland All-Stars, and this time it's Tipperary who play down into the goal on our right. The pass was overhit down towards Cormac Bonner, so it results in a puck out for the goalkeeper. In this case it is John Commons. This is the clash from a different angle at the very start of the match. Hurley's broken, such is the intensity of the action. Those hurleys, incidentally, cost about £10 back in Ireland. That's round about $18 or so in Canadian money, as that shot from way out the centre of the Sky Dome Arena sails to the right and wide of the goal. John Leamy, the Tipperary goalkeeper. Aidan Ryan unable to keep that ball in play, and it's going to be a sideline ball for the All-Stars.
On the ball, lad, keep on the ball. On the ball, lads, Devon, on the ball.
Sean Tracy is ready to line up this sideline ball for the All-Stars. Last year was his first in senior ranks with Galway, and he really made the most of it by gaining an All-Star at the end of the season. Brian McMahon would love to do something like that, but playing for the All-Stars tonight, he's put that pass to the left and wide. Brian McMahon, who hails from Dublin. For our Irish audience, the numbering tonight the players are wearing may not exactly conform to what you're used to, but they're wearing squad numbering. Jim Cashman trying to clear his lines from the centre half back position. The referee witnessed a foul down there, and it's going to be I think he's going to award a free to Tipperary. Yes, that is going to be the case, and Michael Cleary is coming across from his corner forward position to take the free. No breeze around, of course, because it's all indoors, and Michael Cleary makes the most of his opening, and he puts over another point. And so, early stages in the second quarter, and Tipperary assume leadership. 8-7. Conal Bonner battling over there with Tony O'Sullivan. That's whipped away by John Kennedy downfield. John Kennedy, by the way, has switched into the middle to mark Joe Cooney, and that's been a switch which the manager Babs Keating has made. Conal Bonner, number 5, aided and abetted over there by John Kennedy. Joe Cooney waiting, holding back just a little. Breaks into the centre to Ger Hegarty, sells a nice dummy, takes it on his left-hand side, up towards the man up on the corner, and that's Ultimate Fetrich. And so near to getting yet another goal. Ulka McFetrich claiming that it might have touched the defender as it went by, and it would have been a 65 under the circumstances. Here he is again, going by. Bobby Ryan was his marker, and Ulcombe was claiming, I think, that Bobby might have got a piece of the action there. The referee wasn't interested. Meanwhile, it's Michael Cleary racing down, taking possession, gathering well, and sending it high and over the bar. And Michael Cleary has yet another point. Michael Cleary with his 3rd point of the match. And that's confirmation of the score. Tipperary, the All-Ireland champions, ahead by 2. John Commons belting it out, dropping it in towards the 45-metre line. That's the Tipperary 45-metre line. John Kennedy And this is Paul Delaney, so tidy and economical in his style. And the referee, once again, spotting a foul and is just getting a tiny bit edgy over there. And the referee stepping in quickly and making sure that any potential nastiness is diffused. The players are playing for the ANC Dominion Canada Cup here tonight. ANP, I should say, Dominion Canada Cup tonight. And they've also got fraternity rings, which are going to be awarded to the winners. As watch Babs Keating there in the background. Counsel Paul Delaney, number 22, who's about to take this sideline puck. Those fraternity rings that they're playing for here are worth about 1,000 Canadian dollars. So they're all anxious to take the pickings here and win the trophy. That's down at the other end. Meanwhile, it's John Commons taking the puck out. John Kennedy is under it, but he lets it drop down towards Michael Coleman, the All-Stars midfielder. Into the centre it goes. Ian O'Ryan trying to hold on to it, but against the stern challenge presented there by Conor O'Donovan, who is in the Tipperary full back line. That's a switch which they've made in the last couple of minutes. Joe Hayes going across there with Nicky English. So much attention devoted to Nicky English in this match in the build-up, and he's been unable to match that attack with a shot on target. Nicky English, who scored a record 2 goals and 12 points last year in the All-Ireland final. There he is. That was a record. All back in play. Joe Cooney beaten by John Kennedy, settling down well now at centre half back, but this time dispossessed. Conor O'Donovan can't clear his lines. It's Bobby Ryan who nips in, and Ryan makes a fine clearance well downfield towards Cormac Bonner, coming away from the full-back Eamon Cleary. Cleary sticks to his task, however, and it's Eamon Cleary of Wexford and the All-Stars clearing it upfield, sending defence into attack. That is knocked down. Paul Delaney going across, trying to keep it away from Ian O'Ryan. Two very tidy and busy competitive players down towards Cormac Bonner. Cormac Bonner tussling over there with Eamon Cleary. Breaks back to Joe Hayes. Full-back's out of position. Nicky English in there along with Desi Donnelly. And two Tipperary men coming in, and it's Nicky English who gets the final touch. A lovely goal by Nicky English. And that's a goal and a point now he's contributed this evening, and that in the 6th minute of the second quarter. Watch as the ball was touched in. John Commons was coming out, but there were two Tipperary men in his wake, and Nicky got the vital touch. A goal for Tip. So Nicky English sticking to his task and getting there ahead of Aidan Fogarty on that occasion. And now Tipperary lead by 5 points here at the Toronto Sky Dome, a match you're seeing live this evening. That's Conor Stakelum getting the pass across towards Declan Carr. There's a great deal of interest in this match here in Toronto, I can tell you. The build-up has been very big indeed. Eamon Cleary there with the full forward, Cormac Bonner. Declan Carr, a publican now in Holy Cross in County Tipperary. That's in the very recent past. And here he is to take the sideline ball, 45 metres out from the All-Star end line. Into Cormac Bonner, who made a good diagonal run across. Eamon Cleary tried to check his stride, but he's under pressure from Conor Stakelum. Conor Stakelum chipping it into the middle, but there's nobody there waiting for it except Sean Tracy. And a stern defender, Sean Tracy, unyielding in his approach to the game. Gets it up, but only as far as John Kennedy of Tipperary, the All-Ireland champions. Nicely forward. Michael Cleary with lovely solo skill. This is one of the skills in hurling. Now setting himself up for a point. The umpires have a quick consultation to determine that the ball was just about a couple of inches, I think, wide of the right-hand post, and Michael Cleary a little disappointed by all of that. Well, they were saying in the last couple of days that Michael Cleary of Tipperary here is one player who really has adapted well to the conditions on AstroTurf. He's really been playing out of his skin, as they say, but that chip failed to yield a score. Nicky English again, and the stick broken over there. It was English's stick that's broken, but the attack continues with Conor Stakelum being checked by Aidan Fogarty. Aidan Fogarty comes from Offaly. He won 2 All-Ireland medals, which is the pinnacle for any hurler in the Gaelic code. Medals in 1981 and 1985. It's going to be a free in for Tipperary, and as always it's going to be Michael Cleary who was ready to line this one up. He's the 3rd free taker Tipperary has had in the last couple of years. English was taking the frees last year. but he was out with injury for quite a while this season, and Michael Cleary has just got his 4th point of the match. But in fact, I think we can update that. I think it's 5 points now that Michael Cleary has scored. He's had a very good return so far, and we have played nearly 9 minutes in the second quarter. 13 points to 6th position, and Tipperary are the leaders. Sean Tracy. Tip have had a fairly uneventful season so far since Christmas, but they got a vital draw last week back in Ireland in Kilkenny to keep them in Division 1 of the league. John Kennedy to Conall Bonner. Bonner from 65 metres out from his own end line and unable to link up with his brother Cormac. Indeed, there are 3 Bonners in this Tipperary panel, and all Cormac and Conall there. And when they were out here, they met an older brother of theirs who's been out in Canada for a couple of years now, shall we say, and that's Kieran, and he was here attending the training sessions over the last few days. This is Eanna Ryan. Ryan from near the sideline, swinging it in, but unable to steer it on target, and the man in the white coat, the umpire there, signalling the ball had gone wide. The stadium holds about 50,000, 54,000 thereabouts, and there are a good 30,000 people here tonight, which is a marvellous tribute when you consider that these fixtures, the hurling and the football match later on, were arranged only 3.5 months ago. The organisation here has been first class, the players have been treated well, everything has been done in first class fashion. So now we're looking for a really good match. It's competitive so far. Michael Coleman getting it forward up towards Alca McMetrick, but it's Conor O'Donovan who's made a difference since coming in for the second quarter. He certainly has linked up well as we watch another substitute, Pat McGrath, send the ball downfield. Sean Tracy. You can use, by the way, 3 substitutes at any course during a hurling match. Michael Cleary here, 65 minutes out from the All-Star goal, getting it back to Pat McGrath once again, sending it wide towards Cormac Bonner, who'd moved in well, but Jim Cashman's trying to close down the space of Donny O'Connell. O'Connell getting onto his left-hand side, and this is a very good spell for Tipperary, and Donny O'Connell has now scored, so only one of the forwards now for Tipperary yet to score. That's Conor Stekelum. Let's watch this once again now. Jim Cashman was doing his best at number 5 there to dispossess Donny O'Connell, but O'Connell got free, got some space. Finish. It's 1:15 to 3:8. So 2:8 to... let's just continue with this match because the score here in the Dome not quite as accurate as you're seeing on the screen there. Joe Cooney taken down 20 metres out. That's going to be a 20-metre free. Conor O'Donovan going back to defend his goal lines along with John Kennedy. (2-1 to 2-8) the position. The All-Stars 2-1, Tipperary 2-8. Joe Cooney, the free taker. Well, he was going for a goal, trying to bring his side right back into this match, but it was stopped on the goal line, and it's out to Declan Carr, and away to safety for Tipperary. Sean Tracy getting under it, but unable to hold on to it. He was being fouled as a Tipperary man was advancing on top of him. I think it was Joe Hayes who committed the foul. Jody O'Connell was there too. But this was the... well, we're going to keep with the action here as Jim Cashman takes the free, dropping it right in there into the danger area. A dangerous situation as Shane Fitzgibbon goes for a point, but he fails to produce one. Shane Fitzgibbon, number 13, came across from the left to the right that time, swung well onto it, but no return. And the All-Stars certainly are not going to be all that terribly pleased with their return so far in this match. They can do an awful lot better. They're trailing by 7 points in the game. That's Ger Hegarty, Paul Delaney of Tipperary under the ball there. But it's Eanna Ryan who escapes the clean shoulder, hand passes it forward in towards the man at the top of the right there, who is Shane Fitzgibbon. It comes back out, however, and it's sent high, and it looks like it's a good one from Tony O'Sullivan. Tony O'Sullivan, a Cork man playing at left half forward for the All-Stars, gets his first point of the match. So there's the scoring, 2-8 to 2-2, 14 to 8. 2-2 is a fairly low return for the All-Stars in the opening half, and remember we've just got 2 minutes of the second quarter still to go. John Leamy, who's playing in his 4th big match for Tipperary this evening, and Terence McNaughton there is part of the action. for the All-Stars, but he's dispossessed. It runs loose over there towards Jim Cashman. Cashman getting there first. Not such a good clearance. Taken by the man playing in the centre there, and that's Michael Cleary, who's got yet another point. 6 points in all now for Michael Cleary, and he's been the star of this match really in the opening half. Jim Cashman played that ball, but only as far as the Tipperary man. Michael Cleary steadied himself and drove it straight over the crossbar. So very near the end of this opening half, 2-9 to 2-2, 15 points to 8. Tipped the Masters so far. Jim Cashman settling down at centre half back, releasing it to Terence McNaughton, strangely playing back in his own half back line when with his county side anthem he plays up on the forwards. That's forward towards Donny O'Connell. O'Connell trying to get inside, trying to set up Conor Stakelum for a score. Belted! Oh, it's gone wide. Conor Stakelum had a glorious opportunity of getting yet another Tipperary goal. He hasn't scored so far in the match, and that was his best chance. Well, it was set up beautifully for him. Eamon Cleary was unable to contain that one, and Stakelum drove it wide. Paul Delaney receiving a lot of the action so far, and straight through the centre comes Brian McMahon. Brian McMahon on an acute angle, and he's put it over the bar. That will do Brian McMahon's confidence a lot of good. And with that let off by Conor Stakelum at the other end just a second ago, that's a really valuable score by Brian McMahon of the Bank of Ireland All-Stars. So that's the position, a deficit now of 6 for the All-Stars. And that is the position at half-time. We've seen plenty of goals, plenty of action, some nice points as well, and this match is by no means settled. Second half still to come.
Thank you, Ger, and there you see the score. The St. Patrick's Day games on RTE and TSN. Now let's enjoy some of the halftime festivities and some Irish dancing. Okay, earlier today here in Toronto, in fact, through the streets of Toronto, Torontonians were able to enjoy a beautiful St. Patrick's Day parade, and with the story on that, let's go to Ger Canning. Ger?
Well, I can tell you there's a real nip in the air down here in downtown Toronto on a weekend of considerable significance for Irish-Canadian relations. Look, apart from the fact of the big games in the Sky Dome this evening, there was also the big launch on Friday last of the Irish Fund for Canada to raise funds for some meaningful projects back in Ireland, both north and south of the border. And then today, down here at midday, the big centrepiece of the weekend, the annual St. Patrick's Day Parade, albeit a day late. The local organisers were anticipating a crowd of about 100,000 along the 4-mile route for a parade where the emphasis was very much on participation. And a big day for all, not least the organising chairman, Sean Moore.
This is our third annual parade, and the way it has grown since 1988 is unbelievable.
You've got every county in Ireland represented practically.
Well, we have 27 of the 32, and we're working on the rest.
It's a multicultural affair as well, not just for the Irish.
No, well, we wanted to bring a fun parade to the city to get the people away from the winter blahs. And this year we have bands representing Portugal, Germany, the Ukraine, the Philippines. We even have a Canadian native Indian float.
Participation also included Colm C.T. Wilkinson, Grand Marshal of the parade and star of Phantom of the Opera, together with the Lieutenant General Governor, Lincoln Alexander.
I'm a Dublin man today.
And there too, the Mayor of Toronto, Art Eggleton.
And a happy St. Patrick's Day to everybody in Ireland.
And the Tipperary manager, Babs Keating, was there, joining in the celebration.
Enjoy yourself, Babs.
Silver, Jeff. Number one.
And they came from Kilkenny as well. Yes, indeed, they came from Cork, from Dublin, indeed from all corners of Ireland. It was a memorable parade. A huge parade and a huge success for the organising committee, and this particular guy went green with envy. Great Irish dancing there. We were down there teaching them those steps this morning, myself and Jim Nelson here. Jim is the Antrim manager, and they were in the All-Ireland final last year, beaten by Tipperary. Jim, what do you make of it all so far?
It's a little bit bunching down there, and I think the middle of the field has been blotted out. Tipperary in the second half have really come on top of their half-back line, and at this stage we don't seem to be able to contain Michael Cleary in the forward line. So until we get the straps on him, I think he's going to cause us a lot of problems. But there's no question that Tipperary's half-back line have been well on top.
Now, they started rather shakily, I felt, and there was one particular goal down there where the goalkeeper was hesitating to come out or not, and then they made a replacement. They brought in Conor O'Donovan, and he has settled down that defence quite considerably.
Yes, well, all the 3 goals came from mistakes, and I think with the bounce of the ball and the way the ball is running, I think the players are having great difficulty. But I think Tipperary have settled down much quicker.
They certainly are very anxious to win, both teams. We know that from the preparation they put into this match.
Yes, well, their team plays much better, and with having played together, the All-Stars are having great difficulty in having some sort of formalised team play. But I would think that in the second half, after half-time now, that they'll maybe get their act together and try and get back into this game pretty early on. The one thing that does seem to be holding them up, if they can get the ball into the inside forwards, the 3 inside forwards seem to be able to score, and there isn't enough ball going in there.
We're looking forward to the second half. Jim, thanks very much for joining us. Let's go back to Chris.
Thank you, Jer. With the score, Tipperary 15, the Irish All-Stars 9. We will return live to the Skydome in Toronto in just a moment.